Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another video. Now, a couple days ago I did a video with tips and tricks for Lilith because I thought, not a lot of people knew how to play her. She had a couple of issues and I wanted to try to help people as much as possible. I'm sorry, by the way, if you can hear the fan in the back, but it is so hot here that I do have to have this fan on. I'll put some music on top of the video just to make sure that, you don't listen to it that much, but you might hear it here or there, so I'm just giving you the heads up. Now, like the last video, let's first talk about who Vora is. Vora is a seal guardian, alright? She basically worshipped the moon goddess Io and worked in her behalf. One of her tasks was to protect a seal. The seal inside of the seal that was on the Shattered Desert would have inside the darkness, aka Yagarath. I'm not going to explain much more on that because obviously that would be the lore for Yagarath and not Vora. So basically her protecting the seal together with her, her sisters, her other sister guardians. Well, a lot of attacks happened. Io never truly showed up and helped because she was scared of how people would see her, now being shattered due to Yagarath colliding with her. Vora ended up being a bit mad about this, just being forsaken, forgotten, not aided by the goddess, and she decided to turn into a different side. And on this side, Yagarath basically offered her some powers, the darkness powers, and together now Yagarath and Vora, now that Vora has unleashed Yagarath into the realm, they both go around and just destroy everything. Now, Yagarath did get sealed by Yazan, but the story never said anything about Vora, so technically speaking, she is still basically roaming around on the, on the realm, and maybe she'll even, release Yagarath again and they both will continue their quests for destruction and devouring people. So, now that we spoke about her, her story, let's go into the shooting range and talk about her kit really quick. Alright, and here we are, and here is Vora. Now, I'm going to talk about her abilities, main fire, really quick, and we'll talk about the passive after. Okay, there's still a lot of people out there that don't really know what the passive does and what not, so I want to talk about her abilities first, so let's get into it, okay? So, her main fire consists of 3 different types of attacks. You got the medium, you got the lights that are 2, and then a heavy one. And you can see that by the animation type and so on. She doesn't have any reloads, so that's pretty simple. And you'll see that they do different damage. That one does 100 on hit. The lights do another 100 on hit, but less on the over time, right? And then the heavy one does 450 and some extra damage. So that extra damage you see, those little tick damages, all together they do specific numbers. And you can see here, they will do, I don't think it says here. Yeah, it doesn't say here. If in order to know the numbers, it might be changed in the future or not due to balancing. You gotta go into the advanced section on the character's abilities on the menu, and you'll be able to see the numbers. But either way, this is pretty good because this little tick damage will allow you to track invisible enemies. So keep that in mind. Now, you'll also know that there's these little orbs and this new animation here in the middle of the screen. That is the passive. We'll talk about that later because it does enter in sort of contact with her other 2 abilities, except for her movement ability. So because of it, I'll talk about it in the end. Let's talk about her Dark Siphon now. Her Dark Siphon, it is pretty much like one of these smaller attacks, as you can see, and it'll do this. It will be more on the vertical side, as you just saw there, and I'm gonna do it again here. But it also goes further than the normal attacks. As you can see, the normal attack only goes there, and if I do this one, it will actually go further and faster. Not just that, it will also heal you for 300 if you hit an enemy. So you'll see this little healing symbol on the left side in the middle of the screen, and it does have extra effects with the passive, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Now let's talk about her Obliterate, or what I like to call her Slam. Her Slam basically does a little tiny pirouette, but this tiny pirouette isn't just one simple pirouette. It does have multiple different purposes. One of them, you will become CC immune and damage immune when doing the animation. Okay, second, it will do 500 damage. You saw there on Vora's body, she was golden all around, like this yellow glow. Yeah, that means you CC immune, okay? You can use this to survive certain things, like imagine the Sky ult is right here. You could just then press the ability at the right time and survive the blast. Okay, so that is pretty good. Again, this ability also has an extra passive thing due to her passive, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Now let's talk about her movement ability. Movement ability is very similar to Grover's Tendril, but it's faster. Okay, you look in a direction, you can hold it, you'll see that there's like a marker telling you to where you can vine and whatnot. And no, the vine tech does not work here, unfortunately. It does, but it's extremely hard to pull off. In fact, you'll just die trying to pull it off. But basically, you'll look into wherever you want to go, and then when you let go, it will pull Vora into it. Now, you can do some pretty crazy stuff like with this, basically, like Spider-Man style. You know, if you know how to do it correctly. There are a couple of guides out there on YouTube on how to tell you certain places to go. However, if you do watch me play on my streams or on my videos of gameplays with Vora, you'll be able to find some new spots. In fact, I am not going to put gameplay in this video because in the end I'll just suggest 2 gameplays that I already have with her. One of them is in competitive and the other one is like top frags, like 40 kills or something like that. So if you want to see gameplay, you go watch those. But before the end of the video, I want to teach you something, a little trick with this movement ability that you can do in certain maps, okay? Now let's talk about her ultimate. Her ultimate basically puts you in a 3-person form, and you will now have one single attack to do, and when you use it, because you have to come up near the enemy and use it, it will basically give a slash to the enemy, and if they are full HP, it will not kill them, it will just stun them and do damage. But if they are low enough, around here, like 66%, you'll be able to execute them. So this will have more value on the tanks because they have a lot more HP. It's easier to get them to that 66% threshold, and you'll be able to kill them. So let's go then do the normal ultimate with no below 66% HP. She goes in this form. You walk up to enemies, you'll see this. You can be here a bit on the side, it's a bit forgiving, and you'll be able to do that. So I would say to try to aim to put the enemy on your right side here, and then use it. Also, you'll be CC immune during the ability, so you will not be stunned, crippled, or anything of the sort. And you will also gain movement speed, and some damage reduction, okay? Not immunity, because they've removed that. That was an older thing. If you don't use the ultimate, in the end, it will let you keep 50%. It will just basically... Oh, I'm sorry, but what I meant is it consumes 50% straight away. My bad. It consumes 50% straight away, so the longer you stay, the other 50% will then be consumed as well. So if I use it, you'll see 50%. I'll stop now. It consumed 9% because I was only a portion of it, with a portion of it active. But if you hold it for a bit, like all the way to the middle, we cancel it, you see 23%, 25%, you'll know what I mean. All right, now let's put the enemy low enough to kill. So you walk up to him, and the animation is completely different. They will be silenced, stunned, and so on, and you'll be able to kill them. Okay, so I advise you to do a couple of attacks before doing it. Pop up your ult, go close, and slash. You also be able to do what I like to call the ultimate in motion, which means that you have to be going, jumping, and ulting, and by ulting I mean hitting the trigger button, and you'll be able to be jumping while hitting the ultimate. So that is pretty good. Now let's talk about her passive, shall we? You see these little orbs that I got underneath my reticle? There's 3 orbs right now. These orbs can be collected by hitting the enemy. As you can see, I just gained another one, and then another one. We can only have 5 at the time, but they'll basically go away as soon as we consume, as soon as we use one of the 2 abilities, a Dark Siphon, so this one, or this one. Okay, so basically every time you use one of those abilities, you have to collect stacks again. But what are the stacks for? Well, the stacks will actually heal you 100 HP per orb. So right now, I'm gonna take some damage here from the Cassie, and then if I use my ability, I will heal for 300 over there. I had 10 HP, now I have 310, so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, that is not the only effect, however, because remember that when it goes to 5 stacks, it'll do like this weird animation of flames on the side, that is because it is signalizing to you, it's letting you know that you have what it takes to amplify the other two abilities. So the Dark Siphon and the Obliterate. So I call them the Slam and the Slash. Will be a little bit better for you to understand. Basically, with 5 stacks and a Slash in the Dark Siphon, it will cripple the enemy. You'll see that animation there. It will cripple them, okay? If I don't have any stacks, you'll see it doesn't do that. So you'll be able to stop them using movement abilities with it, and it's pretty damn good. Remember that the Slash does heal you for 300 by hitting people, so having 5 stacks plus you hit a Slash, it will heal you for 800 in total, which is fantastic, right? Now, what does it do, 5 stacks, with the Slam, however? Well, with the Slam, it will slow people down and also do 300 extra damage. As you can see there, that 500 and 300 that showed up, that's 300 extra damage, and it slows people down as well. Now, if the enemy you're facing is something like a Tyra, maybe using the 5 stacks and the Slam will be a better call. But in most cases, most champions have movement abilities, so using the Dark Siphon together with the Cripple, the 5 stacks, it will be much better. It will prevent them from running away. Maybe your teammates will be able to finish them off, or you will be able to finish them off with them without them running away. Not to mention you have extra heals, so I would just say that that is way, way better, okay? So, here's also one of the first few tips that I have here for you. As you can see, my keybinds are not necessarily the default ones. My Dark Siphon is on my right click, and my Obliterate, my Slam, is on my Q. The reason for this is because I spoke to the developer that actually helped creating Vora, and, well, his thought of making the Obliterate, the Slam, on your right click was because it was a similar ability to the Koga Dash. For as much as I might agree with it, I don't agree with it on one thing, because her Dark Siphon or Slash is very similar to her main attack, and many of the times you'll just be going around doing this. So it's a lot better to go left click, right click than going left click Q, okay? And you save your Q for last thing. It's more of a sort of Grover style. The Q is his like AoE ability, and his side, he basically heals people around him, and then he has also another type of axe that he throws with his right click, and that's what I'm trying to achieve here. It makes it a lot better. So if you're on PC, switch those keybinds. If you don't know how to do it, go to options, go to here on this tab where it says bindings, go here, scroll all the way down to Vora, or Bopa as I call her, and then just switch this for this, okay? I also have the ultimate on my mouse wheel scroll down. The reason for that is that sometimes you might be trying to press your ultimate and then not going too fast. So just scrolling down will allow me to have that a lot faster. And also to cancel it as well. So I can just, you hear that spam? That's me trying to cancel it, all right? If I may not have the best chance to use the ultimate, or if, you know, maybe I just used it to BCC immune for a second there to not get stunned or so, and instead of using this, I just use this. She has those 2 types of CCs, so that's pretty great. Now let's talk about talents and cards. First of all, I'm gonna swap this here, just pick a random talent, and I'm gonna talk about a loadout that a lot of you will love, okay? Which is the following. Not this one, not this. This is not the card I'm looking for. This is the card I'm looking for. This loadout is what I like to call the no healer loadout. In case you do not have a support, okay? This is for when you do not have a support. Remember, no healer. You'll be able to use this loadout and stay alive for a lot longer. Now, you do lose mobility and speed because you could compensate that with the points, and unfortunately you're using them in heals, but here's how much you can actually heal from one single attack. Okay, I'm at 110 of HP. We're gonna go over here and just use one Dark Siphon, one Slash on one enemy. And you can see there that I just healed for over 1,300. That is fantastic, because both this card that is now giving you 250 extra heals to your Dark Siphon when hitting an enemy, which already gives you 300, that makes it 550, plus this card that would give you 50 extra HP per stack, making every stack 150, that is just a ton of healing. Okay, so in total it's around 1,300 or more. It really depends on the future whether or not they're going to nerf or buff these cards, so watch out for that. And if you're thinking of maybe using this card right here for extra speed and life rip, I don't think it's worth it. If they made this true lifesteal, like the lifesteal that Lilith has, well, that would have been a lot better. But unfortunately, that doesn't exist here, although I might suggest the AOC in the future to try to do that, and we'll see. But with that in mind, let's talk about her talents, okay, before we go into the loadouts. I just wanted to make sure that loadout was already there present for you. You might want to have a slot with it. It will help you when you don't have healers on casuals. That happens all the time, okay? So go for that loadout, have it in one of the slots, and just wait. Now, let's talk about her talents. The first one is pretty simple. Your Dark Siphon does more damage. The second one gives you one more charge to your movement ability. And the third one makes you silence the enemies when using your slam. Now, the third one, almost no one uses it. If you want to use it, it will be extremely good against an Atlas by getting 5 stacks, then crippling them with the slash, right, with the Dark Siphon. You can then just wait it out and then slam, and you silence him for an extra 1.65 seconds. This will allow you to basically lock him out from rewinding back for a longer time than usual, so that's fantastic. And then in the last second, you can also pop your ultimate and stun the guy, or just finish him off. So there you go. That is a perfect little combo there. There's also apparently a little combo that I've seen some people talk about, which is if you go with this here, with this talent that does more damage on your Dark Siphon, you basically just go, you do one Dark Siphon attack, and you should be able to execute without having to do anything else. That is good. Having extra damage is good, but I would say that mobility is even better because Vora is really easy to kill. So having a ton of mobility, which is the talent here that I love so much, and having a loadout like this, you know, having the cooldown be reset because you have two charges to your movement ability. It will reduce it 2 times, so it will actually take 6 seconds away, which is fantastic. You also have this card here. If you really want to go overkill, you're gonna actually just put 5 points on that. This card will give you speed every single time you're attacking people, will allow you to basically strafe faster. That's why I had it in 5 points. But if you do this, combined with Chronos, you basically are Spider-Man on Paladins, okay? So you can see here that I already have another one. So I just did 3 tendrils, and then you can even do another one just running away. And as long as you can hit your Dark Siphons, you'll always be having low cooldowns and less cooldowns on your Dark Siphon, and you can just basically vine through the map. The more you vine around the map, the harder it is to people to hit you, except maybe a Leon. But the thing is, because of that, it makes it extremely hard for people to focus you, and it also has a lot more mobility for you to zoom through the map. Okay, so that's why I'm trying to teach you this. Okay, this is the loadout sort of that I use, although I go with this one here that gives me damage reduction. I have to put these two at 4 points. The damage reduction will always be refreshing. It will, I believe that it does stack, but with diminishing returns it'll put you to like 30% max, but for using 2 tendrils at the same time. So something like this, you'll have like close to 30% or so. But the thing is, because I have low cooldowns, I'll be able to have this Dark Siphon, this DR at all times pretty much, because I'm always having tendrils. Okay, so that is fantastic if you guys want to check it out. As you can see, I only had 1 charge. That's why it was working like that, because that's a bug on the shooting range. But basically I could just go here, have my DR going solid for like around 6 seconds, and have more 3 seconds, and every single time you do that, it just gives you DR again. Unfortunately, the card that gives you a shield every time you vine, well, it doesn't necessarily work too well because it has an internal cooldown, unfortunately. So yeah. Now, there's a couple of other loadouts that you can come up with. These are the 2 main talents I would suggest. If you don't have the ability to go and flank a lot, maybe there's a Shaolin or something, maybe I would advise you to sit in back and just try to snipe a lot more with this. Use this more on your tanks. It will also be a lot more beneficial because it's 10% of the target's maximum HP. So the more HP that they have, the more damage it does. So it will allow you and your team to burst down people really fast. I'm not entirely sure. Actually, I never actually stopped to check if this actually stacks on shields. buying Wrecker with Vora is not necessarily the thing that I like the most. I mean, maybe you can... Yeah, you can get it if there's a lot of shields and help out because you don't have any reloads every time you're getting stacks by shooting shields and so on. That's also another tip. Shoot anything that it has the red outline, okay? Luna, turrets, clones, enemies, shields, everything that you can shoot and do damage, it will give you those stacks. So having as much stacks as possible at all times, it will be a lot better. Before you dive in with your tendril, also make sure you have 5 stacks, okay? Just like poke at medium range, and then when you have it, you go in for the kill and you have the 5 stacks and you cripple them and you kill them. All right, so that's also another tip. So I now want to go into another place to show you just one final secret tip that not a lot of Voras know, and that is actually pretty damn good. Specific maps will work really well with it. You'll start to love Timber Mill just because of it, trust me. But again, just quick review, get as much stacks as possible at all times. If you're taking a lot of damage and need heals and there's no healer available, get out of the view of your enemies, and then you can use your movement ability, your one of those 2 different abilities to consume the stacks and get the heals. You don't have to necessarily hit an enemy. Now, if you have the chance, I advise you that imagine you're really, really low and you need to heal. You can just try to peek, Dark Siphon, hit that person, get that extra healing value, and just heal for more than half of your HP. It'll be extremely good. Having the extra tendril will also allow you to basically just run away a lot faster. And in case you get crippled out of one of them, you'll at least have had another one ready. And last case scenario, just pop up your ultimate and try to walk away from it, okay? It will make you a bit faster, damage reduction, and you are CC immune, so... Imagine that you're in a situation you know an Atlas is about to rewind you or a Mako is about to hook you. Use your ultimate and get the hell out of there. Now, with those things said, if there's anything else that I might, want to give you as a tip, I'll leave it in the comments down below. Again, gameplay will be suggested in the end. Now let me just go here and actually teach you a fun little trick with the tendril. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are, and the tip is basically abusing these portals right here. Timbermill has some of them on the spawn. Obviously, this is not important, but I can show you what I want to show you. There's one that it's close to get to the nest of the snipers over there. We'll show you in a bit. But basically, if you vine into the portal, you'll be slingshotted after you teleport into the other side. That is what I'm trying to show you. If you really want to start off by going in for the kill and you just dive them in, this is going to be essential. Some maps do have this. I believe some test maps do have this. I believe you can use in there. I believe that the Warder's Gate map also has this. It'll be good for you to run away or to just dive in. Anybody's on the other side. You have here another portal here. Will also be good position there to do that. But basically, if you want to go into the other sniper's nest all the way to the other side, you can just do it like this. You get over here, you get a higher position here in around a 45-degree angle, and whee! And you can then just go over here. Now, there is a better angle, and with time, you'll just practice it and get it a lot better. Let's just reduce a cooldown here for my tendril. Scratching my nose, sorry. But basically, if you do it like this, you can go even further. Just basically have movement when you're going in for it, so that you increase even the speed that the distance that you go. So you're walking forward, and then you vine, and you get slingshotted. And then you can just be here and be on this other side and kill your enemies, which is fantastic. Now, just one final thing. This is more to remind than anything. Please, for the love of God, use your Dark Siphon more than your Obliteration, your Slam, okay? In this case, the Inara has no movement abilities, so crippling her would literally do nothing. So we wait for her, her protection to go down. You then slam her for the extra damage, and there you go. Again, gameplays will be suggested in the end, okay? If you want to see another specific champion, go down in the comments below. I've already seen some people asking for Vatu, others for Maldamba, and I'm going to be looking through all of those and try to do as much as possible, okay? Try to figure out the right places to vine to and so on. You'll get that over time. As you can see here, I'm going to be in motion here to make it a bit harder for the Inara to hit me. She no longer has the protection, so we're going to hit her. And then just kill her. Which apparently I didn't. Not yet. And also learn this is the final tip. Also learn how to hit shots while in the air. Okay, that is going to be extremely good for you, because if you're just standing still every time you want to hit shots, guess what's going to happen? People are going to shoot you. That's right. Haven might be good, sure, but if I really have to be honest, I would actually go and purchase Nimble as much as possible, and having maybe this card at 4 or 5 points in your loadout allows you to be super fast, you know, just strafing left and right, making it almost impossible for anyone to get you. So ladies and gentlemen, that has been it for my Vora tips and tricks guide. Don't forget, gameplay is in the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, have a wonderful time.